Welcome to the Desert Scene with Bonnie G from the Mutual Broadcasting System, where we explore the vibrant world of arts, culture, and entertainment in the desert. Join us as we uncover the hidden gems and shining stars that make this arid landscape burst with creativity. Brought to you by El Portal Mexican Restaurant in Cathedral City, where authentic cuisine meets affordable prices. Diving into the desert oasis of talent and inspiration, here's Bonnie.
And welcome to the Desert Scene. Happy to have you here, and very happy to welcome to the show David Burnham, who is part of the CV Rep Summer Cabaret Series. And his show is coming up on July 25th. Hi, David. How are you?
Hey, Bonnie. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Wow. Somebody's got some energy this morning. I love that.
I'm actually rehearsing my show as we speak. I've been rehearsing for about a half hour this morning, putting it together, and so I'm like all pumped up with fun music and stuff.
Excellent. So, a couple things. I couldn't remember. Did you do this cabaret series last year? Is this your first time here?
This is my first time here. Yeah.
Okay. And first time ever performing in the desert here in Palm Springs?
I've performed in Palm Springs quite a few times, but never at CV Rep.
Okay.
So this is the first.
So let's go back and start a little bit with your background. Where are you from originally, and did you know as a kid that you wanted to perform, that was going to be your path?
Well, you know what, Bonnie? I actually grew up about not far from Palm Springs area in a town called Fontana.
Okay.
Do you know it?
Yes.
A small town, and I grew up on a farm. So I was a farm kid growing up with pigs and goats and cows and all that. So it wasn't a showbiz family at all. And I discovered I could sing when I was a junior in high school, and I was registering for my classes late, and I wanted to get in the wood shop really bad, but it was full. So the only class available was choir. Uh-huh. And I opened my mouth and I could sing, and my choir director was like, "A guy in choir, yes!" He was so excited.
That's
so he
great.
took me under his wing and encouraged me to audition for the school musical, and I kind of got the bug then. So, And I had sang when I was a little kid too, but just in church.
So, coming from a farm family that was not showbiz oriented, how did they feel about you kind of saying, you know what, I think this is what I want to pursue in my life?
You know what? They were completely supportive. They were like, I remember the story. It goes like this. I was very young, like probably 8 or so, and I had sang at church and stuff like that. And I would sing around the house. I used to actually sing to the pigs. They were my very first audience.
Okay.
To the back of our barn. And so one day after, I used to sing show tunes to them that I had seen on TV.
Okay.
And I think I had seen West Side Story or something, and I loved it so much. So I was singing to the pigs, and I sang something. I think I sang a really fantastic version of I Feel Pretty.
Okay.
Or something like that. And I ran back to the house to tell my mom, Mommy, you have to write to MGM because I am now good enough to sing with Natalie Wood. And so my mom, being the great person she was, she took a piece of paper and a pencil, and she wrote a letter that said, "Dear MGM, my son David is now good enough to sing with Natalie Wood, and sincerely, Joni Burnham." And then she folded it up and put it in an envelope, and together we walked down to the mailbox and we put it in there. And then she leaned down to me and she said, "David, whatever you do with your life, make sure you do what makes you happy."
Oh, that's great.
And, so now I'm doing it. So
that's the best message ever that a parent can give a kid, in my personal opinion. So I have to ask you, did the pigs respond to you? Do you think they enjoyed your singing?
They did. Pigs are really smart.
Yes, they are. That's what I hear, yeah.
Yeah, they would all just gather around, and we had this kind of ritual, and they would just lay in their mud bath and kind of just have pig smiles on their faces, and just enjoy being pampered and kind of serenaded. So,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, I think they did enjoy it.
So tell me, so then in high school you were in choirs, and then tell me about how your career developed after that.
Yeah, I got a scholarship to Cal State Long Beach, and I went on a voice scholarship and studied music there and musical theater, and took some dance classes and all this because I had the bug. Mm-hmm. And after about 2 years, of doing that, and I've started to do like community theater things at night while I was going to school, and kind of just getting involved and doing stuff. About 2 years into it, my mom got cancer and she passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I quit school and spent the last 6 months of her life with her. So that was actually a great thing to have done because I had closure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I ended up, kind of losing my voice during that time because of the trauma of it all. And so afterwards, I had to kind of find my joy for singing again. And I did. I went back and studied some more and went back to school. And then I started auditioning for anything and everything I could. And that's when I had my first big break in showbiz.
And tell us about that.
I will. I didn't have an agent yet or anything like that. So I decided I was going to crash an audition for a brand new musical called Ragtime. Do you remember that show?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful show, very sophisticated, elegant show that takes place at the turn of the century. And well, my little inexperienced self shows up to this audition with, I've got long hair that reaches about down to my chest. I'm wearing a tank top, ripped jeans, and flip-flops.
Wow.
That's what I show up wearing. So they look at me, take one look at me, and they say, "You are not right for this show." And I said, "Oh, come on, just let me sing. Just let me sing." So I had been doing a community theater production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So I sang a song from Joseph. And I finished the song, and they looked at me, and they all said, David, you're still not right for this show. But you're perfect for something else we're casting. And they just happen to be looking for someone to replace the lead in the national tour of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
How great is that? Yeah.
Yeah. And the actor they were looking to replace was none other than Donny Osmond, who I kind of have a striking resemblance to.
Yes,
so.
You do. I'm looking at your photo. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we both had that big toothy grin. And so I got the job. And I did that show for a year. We sat down in Toronto for a year and Vancouver for a year. And it was really thrilling. And I was off and running. So, that was my first big break in showbiz.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here on the Desert Scene. We're talking to David Burnham, who's coming up with his cabaret show at CV Rep in the summer series. We're on the Desert Scene. We'll be right back.
Craving a delicious meal that won't break the bank? Look no further than El Portal Mexican Restaurant in Cathedral City. At El Portal, we pride ourselves on offering family-friendly dining with affordable prices on our authentic Mexican cuisine. Owner Victor Lupercio and his dedicated staff make you feel like part of the family. Whether you choose to dine in, take out, or opt for delivery, you can always count on fresh, mouth-watering dishes that will transport you to the heart of Mexico. Enjoy discounts throughout the week and explore one of the Valley's best selections of tequila to complement your meal. Join us for live entertainment on Friday evenings and consider El Portal for your next special occasion with our catering services. Visit eatelportal.com for more details and discover why El Portal Mexican Restaurant has become a culinary gem in the desert. El Portal, located 1 block south of Ramon on Day Palm and Via Olivera.
And we are back on the Desert Scene with David Burnham. So after your Joseph tour, then what happened?
Well, I went back to New York and was like, I'm going to be a big Broadway star now, of course, because I just did this tour. And New York was like, we don't know who you are next. We don't care who you are.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any luck in New York for like 6 months. So I sort of had a little mini breakdown and was like, I'm going back home. So I went back to the farm, back to L.A., and I started, working on my craft. Because what happened to me, I had success so young and out of the blue. That's just how it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I went back to the real world and studied and started taking any role I could do to build up a resume. And so that's what I did. And one thing led to another, and I started working all around the country doing musicals. And a little bit later, about a couple of years later, 2 years I'd say, I was doing a show in Boston, and my agent says, "Hey, David, would you reroute your plane ticket home to come to an audition for a new musical that's trying out in New York? That's going to be at Lincoln Center." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." So I said, "Well, what is the show?" So I know what to sing for audition, and she said, "Well, we don't really know anything about it much. It's this. We know there was a movie in the '60s or something like that, and it's called The Light in the Piazza." And I said, "Okay, I'd never heard of it." And she said, "I think it's like a wacky new musical comedy about a slick Italian dude who falls for some hot American chick one crazy summer in the 1950s. So kind of wacky and wild and sing some high notes and be silly." So that's not The Light in the Piazza at all.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so I went in and did this audition, and I sang some 50s song and swiveled my hips and did hip thrusts and all this crazy. I gave him Danny Zuko on steroids.
Yeah.
Words, they were like, that was completely wrong. However, would you sing something else? And they had me sing a ballad and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And after six callbacks, I finally got the job.
Wow.
Which was great, and I'll never forget when I actually realized when I read the script that this wasn't the Italian version of the musical Grease at all.
No.
Yeah, actually, it was a very sweet and gentle love story, and so I got to be a part of the original cast of The Light in the Piazza on Broadway for a year and a half, and then did the show for a year on the national tour as well. So that was my first Broadway show, which was amazing.
I wasn't familiar with that show, but they just did a production at Palm Canyon Theater here a month or so ago. Interesting show. I had never seen it before. There's some, really nice music.
Yeah, it is an interesting show. It's a very, it's got a lot of layers to it. And,
so tell us a little bit about the show that you're going to do at CV Rep on the 25th. Do you have a theme, and how did you put it together?
Yeah, my show is called Mostly Broadway, and it actually takes you on a journey through all my Broadway shows. And another one of my shows I've done was part of Wicked on Broadway, which was really a crazy, fun experience, and I got to originate that role, the role of Fiyero, and all the workshops. So I take you on a journey of my beginnings, of all these fun shows, and I call it Mostly Broadway because the majority of it is Broadway music, but there's also some stuff that is in there that people are going to know just from the American Songbook. Mm-hmm. As a performer, I do more than just Broadway shows, musical theater. I had to figure out, when I'm not doing those shows, how do you make a living? So I discovered the concert world. And so I do a number of different concerts. So I do a Tom Jones tribute. Remember him from the 70s? I
love Tom Jones, yes.
Yeah, and so I do a Tom Jones show, so there'll be a little section of that in there. I just got commissioned to do a brand new Michael Bublé show.
Excellent.
So there'll be a little bit of that in the musical, in the concert, and all sorts of fun music, and it's music that people will know and probably be able to sing along with.
Yeah, that's always helpful.
And also, and a lot of fun stories. There's a lot of comedy stuff in there, funny stories, and some serious stuff. I do talk about my mom and what she meant to me. So,
do you have a trio behind you, or is it just piano?
No, this is my we call it my saloon show. It's just me and a grand piano. So it's David stripped down. So it's a very intimate, fun show with an amazing music director from New York. His name's Nick Petrillo, and he's going to join me. And he makes it sound like a full orchestra on that piano.
Yeah, that's always helpful. So we'll one more quick question before we give the ticket stuff. What do you have any rituals before you go on stage? Do you meditate, pray, lucky shoes, anything like that?
You know what I do? I eat an apple.
Do you?
I eat an apple because I feel like it kind of cuts any phlegm that I might have going. Mm-hmm. I do a yoga pose called the lion's pose, which is fun. It's kind of, I flex every muscle in my body, stick my tongue way out, hold it for like 12 counts, and then slowly release it. And it kind of gets rid of all that tight tension and just relaxes me.
Okay.
And
I have to remember that.
Then I go up on stage. Yeah, it's a really good one. It's really good. And
David Burnham, July 25th, 7 p.m., CV Rep, their Summer Cabaret Series. Tickets, you can go to www.cvrep.org or call 760-296-2966, extension 115. David, lovely to talk to you. Break a leg, have a great show. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. And thanks for being here today. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to the show. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, David Burnham, and thank you, everybody else. We'll see the rest of you the next time on The Desert Scene.
The Desert Scene is a production of the Mutual Broadcasting System and is sponsored by El Portal Mexican Restaurant. Eat at elportal.com.